forecasting solution. Web based in the sense you can access through web wherever you are, you can do that. So what are the steps like? You're going to do planning and target settings, budget investment, reporting analysis, and finally decision making. So these are like a single interface where you can see all your uh, data of the business. Okay. So generally speaking, like what is planning? So planning is deciding the best alternative among others to perform. So my final goal is like I want to reach this goal. So to reach that goal, how many alternatives I have to that, and among that I have to take the best alternative. Okay, and budgeting is usually process of setting future financial targets. If I invest $10,000, I want to get $50,000. So you're going to invest like that future target. Okay, and forecasting is a process of projecting the future financial results. Okay, so try to understand these terms. If you have any doubt, like you can go with some accounting principles, to understand in detail. And planning features, like we have these features, it has a predefined dimensional structure. And we have a dimension called version dimension. That version dimension are two types. One is target setting and bottom up planning. So target setting in the sense, if you input the data at the parent level, you're going to distribute that or allocate that data to its children. That is target setting. Bottom up planning in the sense, you input the data at the level 0 and you aggregate to its parent. Okay. So generally for all the major versions, like all the versions, we use bottom up planning. And iterative planning cycle is a scenario where between the management and the business unit managers, okay, the department managers. So if the department manager gives some budget, hey, I want 10 lakhs for this particular year, he is going to quote that to the management, we require 10 lakhs, but the management will analyze and approve only for 9 lakhs. Okay, so between that particular period, how many iteratives will happen, like between the manager and the management? That is called planning cycle. And complex business rules we are going to perform, it's same like calculation scripts. There is no difference in it. And you're going to use a web-based data entry form management of the planning cycle. And coming to the currency conversion, so we didn't see, but we can see that in the planning side. And headcount and salary expense modeling is nothing but headcount is a workforce module, salary expenses modules is a capex module. And you can do the metadata and data transfer between the planning applications and other Hyperion products. So these are the different versions of features which are available from the Hyperion planning side. Any questions? No. Okay. So you know about this multi-dimensional budgeting. You are all already aware of it. And so if I start a new business, I'm using only the Excel based planning and budgeting. So if my business is good as expected, I've been using my Excel for a couple of years, then what I feel is it is a time taken, it is a data integrity issue is there, cost and scalability and adaptability. These are the issues I face when I use Excel, even my business is getting good revenue. So then I thought I need a software. Okay. So our Hyperion planning structure is a three-tier architecture, as you know. So client tier is SmartView, you are aware of it. Workspace, you are aware of it. This application layer is nothing but the application services. Then it's a database tier. What is our database? What is our database?
Oracle Atlas.
SBS and Oracle.
Oracle. And so far, how you access the planning application using Workspace, right?
Web interface.
Yes.
Did you access the planning web client?
No, sir.
Then
It's still taking time. Oh, just keep not sure. Just give me a second, guys. I'm back, guys. Okay, so we are talking about planning web client. Just refresh it. Yeah, it's coming. So far you have seen that how we can access the planning application through Workspace. Can someone give me that how we can access the planning application through planning web client? Can you Google it? Ping me in this team chart how you can access planning web client. What is the planning web client syntax? What is the planning web client syntax? What is the URL, guys?
Sir, sir,
For workspace, sir.
server,
For web
sir,
window.
sir,
Do one thing. Share your screen and show it to me.
Share your screen and show.
sir, in server colon 8300 slash
Mhm.
Hyperion planning.
Right. So you're saying http colon slash slash server litpm colon 8300 slash Hyperion planning. Okay. So let me log in. So what is the application you want to connect? You can connect here. Okay. And say sign in. So this is how you can access your planning web client. So this is your dedicated URL for your planning applications. You can access only the planning applications. Okay. So this is what you see. Okay. So the other thing is go to the methods of application creation. So generally we have two types of applications. One is classical and the other one is EPMA. EPMA is actually in 11.2 it is no more. This component got deprecated. So no, the customers who are using the CPMA now they have to use the DRM. Okay. So the application which got created using the planning administration, yeah. So those are the classical type of applications. Okay. So for the calculations, we use the same calculation manager. Even for EPMA also, we use the same calculation manager. Okay. But EPMA is something that it is very intelligent in terms of metadata management compared to the classical. Okay. And you know about this. And like there's the financial cube, this workforce cube, and capex cube. So when you are going to create a planning application, you're going to have these type of planning types. And coming to the plan types, so you have three VSO cubes, one ASO cube, and workforce and capex. So totally 4 plus 2, 6 cubes you can create in one single planning application. and you know about how to build all this stuff, creating a planning application, planning dimensions, all this. So I want you to work on this, guys, like how you're going to create an account member in the planning application. And if you assign expense, what are the other properties will come automatically. Okay, if you tag expense property for a particular member, what are the other attributes or properties will come? You have to give me a screenshot of um, you know on the planning account dimension hierarchy. Okay, so I want to cover all this. So create a member and assign expense, and give me the screenshot of what are the other properties will come. Create other member, assign the revenue property, and check what are other properties are getting inherited. Okay, I want all this stuff. And coming to the triangulation, triangulation is something we are using in the currency translation. So for example, it is available in HFM also, not only in Hyperion planning. Triangulation is available in HFM. Using a common currency, if you do any translation. For example, I have my business in INR, I have my business in USD and UK. So if I want to convert my UK currency to USD, okay, if you want to convert your UK currency to USD, if you don't have a direct transfer or the currency translation, okay, or any exchange rate between these two, we can first transfer UK to INR, then INR to USD. Here in this particular transaction, we are using a common currency called INR, which is an interim currency. We call it as intermediate currency. So transferring UK to USD is not possible, and if you want to use it in interim currency like INR, this process is called triangulation. So Hyperion planning supports currency conversion by triangulation through an interim currency. The interim currency is called the triangulation currency. So it requires refresh when any new exchange rates to be transferred and stored into the plan types. So here what I mean to say is you got to know that there is a change in the dollar value, okay, and you want to update in the system, then you can use this triangulation feature. And we talked about the exchange rate types. I want you to design a form to use these exchange rate types. So there are three types, three rates actually for any application: historical, average, and ending. Historical is valid for any time period. Okay, so that is there is, we are going to take that historical information to understand how much rate we can input. An average rate is you can apply on the you can just go and Google it, like what is the average rate of USD to INR. Then it will pull that rate. And the same way ending rate of your USD to INR. So if you go and Google it, so we gonna talk about monthly. Let's say, you see, that's the average rate. Okay, you can use this rate. And if you want to go for closing rate or ending rate, We can use this charts. You see, this is the historical info. Okay. Now coming to the period dimensions, year and period, both represents time information. So year is something talks about the number of years, okay, and period talks about Jan to December, okay. And period would have time periods such as half year, quarter, or months, and has information of different calendar distribution. So you have the calendar distribution about 445, 544, or 454. So which is the best among that? You can go with event distribution. And coming to the planning calendar, as you see already, there is no difference. And version is not similar to your SBase, how we create, generally, and go and creating the members called working final. Here, Hyperion planning is going to be like that budgeting and forecasting is going to be happen based on the version dimension, because you're going to select which version has standard target and standard bottom up. So values we enter from parent level and allocated downward. Values enter at the lowest member and aggregate upward. So this is very, very important. So mostly, uh, you know, we prefer to go with bottom up. Okay. And in such case, like where the customer is required, then you go with target up. And coming to the scenario, so what type of data you're going to build by actual plan forecast. And this is also very important, like you're just going to make sure whether the period is allowing or not. For example, I go to this workspace, go to the planning application. Go to the scenario. So if I go and change the start year to end year, like for example, fiscal year only 22, fiscal year end year is 21. So any user is going to have access only between two these years and Jan to December. If we put Jan to February or March, for example, between these fiscal year 20 and 21, they can access only between the Jan to March. They could not access other periods. So you can restrict your security using the scenario dimension also. You're not allowing to input the data for budgeting or forecasting. Okay. So this is also very, very important. So select range of years and periods for each scenario members. User can update data within range. Okay. Within range in the sense between that start year and end year, or start period and end period. Data outside of range is only read only. Okay. For multi-currency application, assign exchange rate table to scenario members allowing comparison of effective of various currency rate assumption. So if you are selecting the multi-currency, then you can use the exchange rate info. So you can do the security, setup using the scenario dimension also. Okay. Exchange rate table. I want you to create like this. Go and create a form, between the two periods. Okay. And entity talks about your organization structure. So I don't think that it is critical to create. So it's very simple. And currency dimension, while you are setting up your application, it will ask you whether you want to create a currency or non-currency. But the only difference is, go to the planning administration. Let me check if it has the, so it is non-currency. So let's say FIPC, C in the sense currency. if you go to the dimensions, you see currency. So this will come only when you create a currency type of application. Okay. Now what you need to understand is, so actually when you create a currency type of application, not only this currency will come, there is one more dimension we'll create with the name of HSP rates. HSP rates. So the application name is relative FIPSI, PLN FIPSI. Yeah. And if you go to the budget, say right click and it, you see here one more dimension called HSP rates came. So you can see these HSP rates only from the S base, not from the front end planning. That is very, very important. Please make sure. So select default currency, either USD or Canada or Europe. Select yes for multi-currency or no for single currency. If multi-currency application, additional exchange rate dimension HSP rates is created. Where it creates? In the backend S base. Okay. That is very, very important. You have to remember this. And custom dimensions we can create up to 13 at the time, but now you can create up to 20. Okay. So mostly we don't create more than 5 to 6 generally. And what is outline load utility? We used to build the metadata, but using the command prompt. Okay, in the older versions, we use the command prompt to build the metadata. But right now, we are using a simple option. Go to administration, import metadata. That's it. Nothing in that. Okay. So this works based on the outline load utility. So if you see it, so select any particular file and say run it. So when you run it, it will shows outline load utility option. Okay. So it came up from the same feature, outline load utility. Okay. That's what. And coming to the workflow, guys, first we access the client called workspace or planning web client, and it's get connected to the web server. And that credential should validate through shared services whether that user is available in the system or not. Then only you can able to log in. When you're login, it will show you authenticate user. That authenticate user is taking time here. The shared services console is validating that credentials whether it is available or not. Then you're going to connect to the desk-based data and RDBMS. So finally, it's going to check that HTTP credentials. Okay. So this is the backend process when you log in. Just log out, and when you type log in the credentials, say log on. So this entire process is happening in this particular 1 or 2 seconds. The entire process. It is going to validate all this stuff first: web server, shared services, workspace, planning server, S-based data, RDBMS, WebLogic server, and HTTP within that 2 seconds. Okay. So that's about planning introduction. Okay. And we have planning data forms. So I want to cover this tomorrow, and planning security. So once we are done these two, we are good with the planning. Okay. So just practice on the account to dimension properties, entity dimension properties, scenario dimension properties. I want you to thorough with all the properties for each dimension. The today task would be go and check the property and understand what is the purpose of each property in the planning dimensions, guys. Okay. Document it and let me know. Okay. And is everybody's documenting the uploading that documents? Why I see only Gauri and Yamuna? What about others?
Sir,
We have
actually,
practiced it, but we did not make any document. Today we will do.
Sorry?
We have practiced access script by writing in the book, and we have practiced,
But
but
what
did
about
not
the
make it.
document?
full steps we
We will
have written
submit.
in the book, sir.
We have executed the access.
I'm fine with that. You all practiced and executed. Then what is the reason you didn't document it? Is it taking time for you?
No, sir, we have to make.
So what is this? Why Yamuna is giving the good content and not others? You guys don't have time?
We have.
Huh?
We have, sir.
Then then why I'm not seeing except Yamuna?
Sir, actually, my I did yesterday like your all sentences, whatever you have repeated, that is in my notebook. Each path, each steps, like what is the reason you are explaining behind.
If I ask you the question, I don't think so that you answer. So no one is doing properly. Yesterday I told you that you should finish. Gauri, I want you to give me a detailed explanation. I got this within 5 minutes, this sentence. How I can understand that you practiced on this? It just takes 1 hour. See why Yamuna did like this. It will help you a lot when you are doing that interview process.
Actually, I thought you are coming yesterday, sir. So we will show and we take your suggestion one time. It's fine or no. Should we go with the document?
Why Yamuna has done? She didn't call me. She is able to do that. She is able to do. Why you guys are not able to do that?
S- Sir, I did all the documentation, but I don't write the content, so that's why I didn't send, sir. I'll send within 15 minutes, sir.
So whatever the sessions got happened, guys, I hope you have that notes. What I have given that homework. I need all the documentation.
I'll send, sir, within 15 minutes.
There is no excuse on that. Please make it properly and give me the documentation. After this session, you have around like 6 to 7 hours. And to do this documentation just takes like 1 to 2 hours. I know that you guys understand, but it won't be you could not remember for the long time until you document. That's for sure. And one more thing, get me the letter pad of our company and do that documentation in our company format. Get that from Srinivas. And whatever the sessions got happened so far, it's been around like 19 sessions. So I want every session documentation in that work notes.
Okay.
Everybody has to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for joining.